Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andy Dan Auta and I'm here with my wonderful wife
Charlie Auta. You're welcome.
We want to specially welcome you to this wonderful episode of Time Out with Charlie and Andy. But first we want to appreciate everybody that has been following. Thank you so much for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you for the questions they're coming. And Charlie, it's getting very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
We have been following and the community is growing and people are out there and we have more married people that are joining this group to give answers to your heart-boggling questions. Now, today we'll be looking at a very wonderful and interesting topic, restriction that comes with marriage. Now, the first day I remember I introduced Charlie to my mother. I took her home to show to my mother, and I remember she gave a talk. She called me after, speaking to Charlie. She called me into the room and she began to lecture me over again about the sacredness of marriage. And that's the one thing I want us to underline today, about how marriage is sacred, how holy marriage is, how important it is, how valuable marriage is, and all of that. And she said one thing that we'll be shedding light on today. She said our generation have found a way to devalue marriage. She said our generation have found a way to make that sacred thing called marriage look casual and all of that. She always talked about paying the price. Now, today we want to look into restrictions in marriage. Now most people actually don't know that there are restrictions when you're about to get married. Men, a lot of guys there. In fact, Charlie, there are a lot of married bachelors. That's what people love to call the married bachelors. They have no idea that they are married. There's some young women out there that are married and don't even know that they are married. Now we're saying that there are certain restrictions that should come with marriage, and marriage is sacred. That's one of the things we wanted to capture today. It's sacred. It's something holy. It's beyond the selfies you take before that wedding day, those pre-wedding pictures and the social media frenzy and all of that. It's way bigger than that. And until our generation, Charlie, begins to see the sacredness of marriage, we'll keep having people running out of it every month like we have right now. And so I'm going to hand over to Charlie. What are the restrictions, Charlie, for some? You can speak on both sides, Charlie, for the men and for the women. What are some restrictions you think that people should really consider and sacrifice when they're preparing for marriage? Yes, Charlie.
Okay, so before I answer that, I would like to say that if you're not ready to be selfless, please don't get married. That's to those who are in a relationship. And to those who are married and are having problems, try being selfless and see how it turns out. Try. Both partners should try to be selfless, because marriage is mostly about selflessness, sacrifice, just like he said. To be able to keep the sacredness of marriage, each person has to sacrifice. Each party has to sacrifice. This is the reason why we count the cost, some of the factors that we consider before we get married. Okay, to the question.
Yes, Charlie.
You asked is, and sometimes when we get married, we feel like we're still single and at the same time we're married. So there's this struggle between letting go of things that we used to do as single people. And mostly sometimes we feel that, why should I change? It's me that got married. So what should change about me? Somebody else became a part of my life, so we are partners, so we'll do better, but I'm still me. Well, what we're saying is you need to adjust. You can no more, as for the guys, you can no more visit that single lady that you used to visit at any time or any hour of the day, even at night.
Some things down. You can't do that.
Even at night, you just call up and say, "Are you home? I just want to drop by." You can no longer do that. Yes, you used to. No more drop-bys. You used to do that when you were single and it was very okay, but now it's no longer okay. There are things you have to consider. You can no longer make those long hours calls anymore. Stay for hours making calls, talking and chatting. You can no longer do those anymore, because this will count also. For the ladies, you can no longer demand to be told you're beautiful, everyone noticed that you've made your hair or this or that anymore, because right now you should be demanding it from one person.
Charlie, can you loud that volume a little bit?
Okay.
Ladies out there need to hear this. You're out there, you want everybody to commend you, and you are
Yes.
married. What are you looking for?
You're
Let other
married.
women to have
Get
husbands
it.
to marry, for God's sake.
Yes,
You
let
know?
them enjoy. Let the single
them
people enjoy. Make sure you demand it from the one that you have gotten married to.
You have a right to demand it.
It's the right. You have a right to demand it. Say, don't I look beautiful? Tell me I look beautiful. It's okay to do that, but don't make it a right to begin to demand it from every other person around. If you get it from them, well, it's beautiful. You're grateful and thank you. But if you don't, do not feel bad, because you are no longer that single woman anymore. Now you are married. There are things you just have to drop. You can no longer spend hours chatting with friends, like girlfriends, and laughing and doing all those gossip days, and forgetting that there are responsibilities like coming to cook before he comes back, cleaning the house, because you say, I always hang out with my girls before you met me. I can't stop doing that. No one is asking you to stop hanging out with your girls. But now there has to be a limit to your hanging out with your girls. Right now he's involved. You have your in-laws to visit. You have other things to do, which they will not understand, because probably maybe they are still single. So you see, all of this constitutes things that you need to let aside, let go, no matter how hard it is. The guys, you hang out with friends late nights, and then you come back by 7, 8, 9 p.m. and you say, we
Sometimes
do that.
11 p.m.
Yes, 11 p.m. and you say,
Watching Man
we
U
do
and
that with friends.
Chelsea.
We're watching Man U. Oh my God. You had better carry her along to go and watch Man U and Chelsea. If whether or not she likes Man U and Chelsea, she better be there, because you would not want to come and give an explanation that is not understood and get angry about. Okay?
Thank you so much, Charlie, for that. Now, get this, guys. We are not saying that you cannot have your boys' time alone, or alone
Your
with the guys,
girls'
or
time.
your girls' time, and all of that. We're saying that there's certain things, like what Charlie was saying, like a married man, and you're found chatting or gisting hours, 2 hours, 3 hours with a single friend. And this is what I always tell people out there. You see, that you're married, if you are like me, amongst my peers, amongst a lot of my peers, like that, I got married before a number of my friends and all of that. And so there are certain things they would not understand. Reading books about marriage is different, from experiencing marriage. And there are certain things I couldn't discuss with them anymore because they were not married. And so that you must get to know these restrictions. You must get to understand that there are certain things that you can take to a single friend that has never experienced marriage before, and then they may advise you in the context of marriage. For instance, you see, Charlie, that I've met a lot of women that are single that say this, oh my God, he said what? He shouted on you. Oh, he must be very stupid. They are never married. They've read books on marriage and all of that. Let her be married for 5 years to 7 years, have 3 children. You know that advice will change. And so that no matter the books they have read, once you are married before these people, there must be certain restrictions. There must be things that you must set aside. You can't go out anymore as a man, or like she said, that you can't say that you're dropping by. Oh, I was driving around the so and so community, and I remember that my friend, all of it's good. Keep your friends. Nobody's saying you should lose your friends, okay? But we're saying that these are the things. The scripture says that do not create an occasion. 5:13 of Galatians. Do not create an occasion for the flesh. That's what we're saying. That occasion for the flesh is occasion for both of you to clash. All right. Anything that will make both of you clash. Imagine you talking for 3 hours with your friend. Oh, she's now in Canada, and that you people have not what. And then the first week she called, second week she called, third week she called, and you leave your wife. You were watching something maybe on TV, and you left around 7:30, entered the bedroom till 10 o'clock. You are still talking until she went to bed. That thing better be business that you're talking about. Everybody will profit from it. But you can't say we are catching up. Where are you catching up to? All right. So we're saying that marriage comes with certain restrictions. Also for the women, there are certain things that you should not be found doing. There are certain pictures you should not be found in, especially if you marry somebody that is a little bit older or so like that. I mean, you go and you take some kind of pictures with your single friends and all of those things, and then maybe the dressing wasn't that, you're not covered. It's okay to be dressed like that with your friends, but then your friends are now posting it on social media, and your husband has to get to answer to his friends, and maybe sometimes even family. What are they discussing dress like that? And so these are little restrictions you should think about when it comes to marriage. And in fact, Charlie, I'm hearing this. There are certain spiritual restrictions. There are some people that it's like they give birth to them in all night vigil. You see, you have to now. You are a sister. You just love anywhere they're doing that vigil. You just like going to.
Wow.
They must be. You must learn to curtail these things. Nobody will stop you from praying.
Not at all.
But you can't disappear 4 days of the week. You are going for all night. Except you are praying that Jesus will just come back now to just take us all. And if that's not the prayer, my sister, you have to restrict some of those things. He wants your attention. He wants your ideas in the morning as he goes to the company or the office, and then you are already sleepy and you are all grumpy and all of those things like that. You will have to reduce some of these things. You have to restrict some of these things. We're not saying eliminate these actions. We're saying you put the restrictions.
No.
I hope somebody's getting the balance, Charlie.
Yeah,
I hope nobody's thinking that we're saying, oh, you have to lock up yourself and be married. No, we are not saying stop these activities. No. Friends are very much needed, very important. All right. Yeah. We're saying this must be restricted. You must begin to curtail some of these things that you do. Yes, Charlie. Anything before we cap this up?
Yes. I heard a lady once said, she said, "This I am. I love to hug, and when I hug, I love to be carried." Yes. And well, she's married and she still insists. Okay. So when I meet my single male friends, I want to hug them, put my hands around their necks, and they carry me and everything. And she still claims that it's very okay. It's not like we're doing anything. No one is saying you're doing anything. But the question now is, what if you see him and then another lady too wrapped around, he's doing the carrying? You know how we are women, very dramatic. You wouldn't actually take it lightly. So aside from that, what explanation would you give some of your in-laws that are elderly? They wouldn't understand the whole carrying and excitement, and they wouldn't understand that it is just friendship. So it is better, and it might pose a danger to your relationship or a threat to your relationship with your husband.
Unnecessary quarrels. Unnecessary.
It can bring distrust and then just suspicion here and there. To eliminate this, it is better to restrict. Let me see this last illustration. A lady said she came to town to meet her friend who was single, now married, and she called to drop by the house because she felt she would spend the night. She usually does that when he was single, and so when she dropped by to spend the night, the wife was like, okay, but I don't know her and everything, and there was a little drama, and then she ended up spending the night. When she was like when it was time for her to go sleep, she was asking that they come sleep in the parlor as they used to, because then she would sleep with him on the same bed, and then she claimed nothing will happen. And she wanted the same thing to happen. Let's just sleep. I want us to catch up at night. I just wanted to talk. You know how we used to do it now. Let us just lie down. And then when the wife came and demanded that it won't happen, she said the wife was being wicked. There's nothing like wickedness. I don't know. It wasn't really weird for you that he would lie down and leave his wife in the bedroom. Then you guys catch up all through the night, because the wife is meant to believe that nothing will happen. Yes, nothing will happen because she's in the house, but still think about what has happened. And so when the man turned that offer down, she got angry too and felt, my friend has changed because he got married. So he has changed. It's not change, it's still your friend, just that there has to be restrictions. Yes, he can't be that person you just bump into anymore, decide to lie down, eat in the same plate, feed each other from the same spoon, climb his back, chase him with water and everything. So it can't happen anymore. Okay.
All right, guys, thank you so much for this. All right, all we're saying, this is the simple message in this episode. Please, we're not saying stop your life, become one robot or something like that, or tell people I'm not married, everybody peace off and all of that. We're saying there are restrictions to all of these things that you used to do. There are activities that you may no longer be able to do again, or you may have to place restrictions on it and all of that. And so please, guys, put this in mind as you prepare for marriage. For those of you that are married, that are going through this, okay? Lastly, Charlie, I have met men that say, I like this thing. You will leave your wife. Somebody you're watching this, you leave your wife always to go to your neighbor's house and gist. It's not done like that. We're not saying don't talk with people, don't relate with people. No, you are a good man. You just want to share and all of that and have fun with people, but you must carry your wife along. You wife, don't be traveling and just go and sit down with neighbors and talk for hours, and the man is alone. Don't do that. All right. And so we're saying until we see you again next time. All right. Join that WhatsApp group. It's getting much more interesting, and send your questions. We want to know your response from this. If you have any questions, you can send us a mail, a testimony. We want to hear all of that. Okay. Until we see you next time. God bless you and bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.